Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Happy New Year's Eve to you. We have got the 2023 Raid recap. Let's talk about everything that happened this year in Raid, good, bad, and provide some context on wrapping up the year as we head into New Year's Eve and 2024. Let's get into it. Alrighty, now, first of all, in 2023, Plarium did celebrate the 4th year anniversary of Raid, and it's actually the 5th full year that Raid has been a game. I started playing in early 2019, and the game kind of was in beta at the end of 2018, so you've had 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 full years of Raid Shadow Legends, and it's still kicking and going strong. So that's very impressive in this industry. Not very many games make it to being a 4 or 5 year game that still have a robust community. So first things first, massive shout out to all of you because it was a big year for the HH Gaming website and community and team and all of that. It was actually the first year that I've been on board helping with some things. I came on initially to help out with Fateless, and then I play Raid as well, so I've kind of been mixing in helping out the HH Gaming team with some of the Raid stuff. So it's been exciting for me to have my hand in two massive and amazing projects in Fateless and HH Gaming. But it was a big year for HH Gaming because of first started the year with the free to play challenge. Now, if you didn't see this, this was about a year ago, a competition where content creators and community members and everybody could play free to play. And what it was doing was it was laying out everybody's account here with leaderboards and tracking the process and all of that, and tracking if people were free to play and not spending on the game. Really, really fun competition, and it's something that we are in talks with doing more events like this, because it was definitely an exciting time. And then also this year we had the Raid Optimizer here from HH Gaming be added with mobile capabilities, which is obviously huge. You have a massive chunk of the Raid player base that only plays on mobile, so being able to add an optimizer opportunity to mobile devices is hopefully going to help a lot more people enjoy that capabilities. And then also branching out into covering other games. Dragonair is one of those new games in the industry, and then Warcraft Rumble, the Blizzard iteration of trying to get into the card unit RTS, a battler where you kind of place a bunch of units on the field and let them fight, similar to Clash Royale. Now, that's a game I'm actually very familiar with. I got to fly out to Blizzard, which was super exciting. I got to see the Blizzard campus, and I got to go into like this secret area where you have to lock up your phone in like a cabinet, and then they take you in where you can test. It was Warcraft Rumble that we were testing, but they didn't want anything leaking. They didn't want any pictures. So we went in and we were able to test Warcraft Rumble there at Blizzard. And it was my first time getting to do an experience like that with a big AAA studio. So that was definitely a lot of fun for me personally to be able to experience something like that with the release of Warcraft Rumble. Then in the second half of 2023, Fateless was really conceptualized and finally put ink to paper and started. So Fateless is going to be the game development studio. It's the main reason that I started working with people like Hell Hades and some of the people in the HH Gaming team, and I met them all at TwitchCon, and we got to talk about kind of partnering up, and I was excited for the opportunity to work with them mainly on Fateless. But like I said, I do help with some Raid stuff just because I play the game, so why not? If I'm here kind of helping out and working with a lot of people in the team, might as well help with some Raid stuff. But definitely Fateless is going to be kind of my main priority in the team. And sometimes people get confused about Fateless and they think that's going to be the title of our first game, but it's not. Fateless is basically Blizzard. It's the name of the game development studio. And then we're working on our first big project. It's going to be a game in a similar industry as Raid. It's going to be a cross-platform, turn-based champion collector RPG, and that's going to be our first big project, and we're hoping to release that within like 24 months, somewhere in there. But then as far as new content in Raid, so at the end of last year, about this time, pretty close, I think it was like December of 2022, we got the Sand Devil Necropolis, which introduced a new way to increase the power level of your highest gear and the gear that you want to really invest in the end game, but it was only for artifacts. Well, then in 2023, they added the ability to ascend your accessories with the Phantom Shogun's Grove. Now, these are both very difficult areas. They're probably only truly grinded by about 10, 15, 20% of the player base. The very end game, once you have really good gear, really good teams, then you start kind of adding that next layer of making some of your best gear even stronger. And also, 2023 was the year of Mythical. We got the new Mythical champions, the new Mythical gear because of the hard dungeons, and added a lot of that next tier above Legendary to Raid Shadow Legends, which obviously meant that we needed the Primal Shard added to the game, where you have an opportunity to add those Mythical champions to your account. I believe the base rate is 1%. People were pretty underwhelmed by Primal Shards when they first came out. They were way overpriced for what you get, but we have seen that price over the first like 6 months of Primal Shards being in the game. We saw that price kind of come down to about half of what it was on launch, and I kind of predicted that from the start, because if you're thinking from Polarium's point of view, you always want to start things, if anything, priced out too high, because in terms of public sentiment, you can always lower the price, but you can't raise the price. It's kind of like when you're getting a haircut. You can always take more off, but once it's off, it's off. You can't really add it back. You can't raise it up again, or else the sentiment is going to be horrible. So they started out with the Primal Shards being like $10, and now they've settled into about $5 a piece. Still, I still think that it's kind of underwhelming for what you get, and I haven't really been ripping a bunch of Primal Shards because I just think the odds are too low versus the cost, but that was definitely added to the game as a big deal, having all of those new super impactful champions. And the live arena, this was something that people really wanted added to the game for a long time, an opportunity to play against people in real time and test your champions against other people with a matchmaking system where early game players can play against each other and whales can play against each other and have a fair kind of live PvP system. And we did finally get that added to the game this year with Quintus the Triumphant as the reward if you're able to rank up enough in the live arena. Now, the live arena ended up missing a little bit. It's super cool that they added it to the game, but the fact that we can't do friendly battles, we can't like observe clanmates or friends when they're fighting in the live arena, they missed out on all of that. Like, you see games like Clash Royale, they can host tournaments, they can do friendlies, they can practice against each other, they can study replays, and that creates this robust community that blossoms into like a semi-esports scene, but you can't do that at all in Raid. We can't have like a content creator tournament and have like Chosen versus Hell Hades, best of 7, where we're sitting here like banning champions, and okay, you can't use Duchess, okay, you can't use Taras, and then we're like building rosters and having these exciting tournaments. It would be amazing if they added that from the start, but alas, it's not there. So live arena ended up being kind of a cool addition to the game, but mostly just something that people do randomly. I've seen a lot of content creators talking about the live arena and their wrap-up videos about 2023, and most every creator, when they get to the live arena, they say, yeah, I haven't done this in a few weeks, I just kind of randomly do it here or there when I get time or when I happen to see it open when I'm on. But people don't really treat the live arena as a super robust area of the game that they're excited to participate in, and I think it's because Polarium missed out on all of those community building opportunities around the live arena. But then we also got the Hydra Clash added to the game. Now, Hydra was added in last year, but the Hydra Clash was an opportunity where you put 5 clans against each other. And again, it's kind of like a side thing. People hit the Hydra like normal, and whatever place they get in the Hydra Clash is whatever place they get. But it's an extra opportunity for rewards if your clan is endgame enough to be hitting the Hydra. And then as we got to the end of the year, we did get the Cursed City of Sintranos, where you have a mythical champion as the reward in Carnage. Now, I think City of Sintranos is some of the most overall positively received content in the game I've ever seen. I believe the most positively received content, just based on me being here in the community daily for 5 years and doing all the polling I like to do on my channel and stuff, I usually have a decent pulse of what's going on in terms of like the overall sentiment. I think the most positively received thing ever was probably Faction Wars. But the Cursed City is up there with like Doom Tower, Faction Wars, the Forge was pretty positively received, but polling at an 80% rate on some of the polling that I've done here on my channel is pretty solid for the Cursed City of Sintranos. That's kind of like a Doom Tower 2.0. It's kind of like a better version of the Doom Tower. But it's definitely not perfect in my opinion. There are some negatives. It's exceedingly tough on some of those like awakening requirements, and the boss has an insane amount of RNG, and the rewards on normal are kind of underwhelming, especially compared to hard. I think the rewards on hard are pretty decent, but you do have to have an insane account to be able to do good on hard and be able to get all the keys and take down the Amius boss. So all in all, I would agree. All in all, it's positive, but I would definitely have a few criticisms of the Cursed City. But then we also got the the Call of the Arbiter series, which was Plarium trying to bring some life to the lore side of things in Raid. And we got a 10-episode series with Call of the Arbiter, where they introduced some of the Supreme versions of the starter champions, where you got a version here of Supreme Gaelic, Aethel, Kael, and Elaine. Now, the best one overall is probably Supreme Kael, and then the worst one overall, if you ask most people, would be Supreme Aethel. And then as far as the promotional and event champions, there was 2 promotional champions where you could get just for kind of like signing in and being active in the Raid community. And that was Artak, which was synergizing with that show that they did, the Call of the Arbiter, and then Sun Wukong. Now, both of them were very good additions to the game. They've actually done a really good job with the promotional champions. They've had like Ninja and Ultimate Death Knight and Artak and Sun Wukong and lots of really good ones kind of thrown in there to be added to the champion roster here on Raid. 2023 was no different. Artak is a very popular HP burner type role in PvE, and you'll see Sun Wukong all over Classic Arena, Tag Team Arena, Live Arena. He's kind of that utility DPS character that can bring a lot to the battlefield while self-reviving. And then we also had a pretty normal year as far as event champions like fusions and fragments and all of that. We had 13 different ones. I think most years they do 13. It's usually about 1 a month, but then around the time of year with like Thanksgiving and Christmas, November and December, holiday season, they usually ramp it up a little bit and squeeze in like an extra one. So it ends up about 1 a month, but it ends up at about 13 most years, and 2023 was no different. We had Pythion, Owella, Supreme Elaine, Rosalvarg, Jetney, Greathoof, Newt, Emic, Strategos, Bambus, Timid, Ugire, and Blizzar, the Howler here as the last one that we just had over the holidays that's just finishing up. And oh my goodness, good thing I did this video. I was gonna forget to finish my Blizzar fusion. Like if I wasn't doing this video, I was just gonna go about my day and be working on stuff, and I was gonna forget to do this. So I gotta rush out and develop this last epic here and finish my Blizzar fusion. So yeah, hopefully I get this video out where there's still like an hour or 2 left on this. But yeah, don't forget to do that. I almost wish we would get like a push notification on the fusion ending, because I would have totally missed out on that if I wasn't recording this video. But yeah, pretty normal year for the events and fusions about as far as like the amount and everything. And I would say what ended up being the most sought after ones was Pythion and Newt. Both of them bring insane utility and are a massive addition to anybody's account who gets them. And there we have it. That is most of the main talking points of 2024. An exciting year for Raid and the community and me personally, and lots of fun things happening. I'm looking forward to another big year in 2024 to keep it rolling here with lots of things going on with Raid and HH Gaming and Fateless. It should be a really exciting time. So I wish all of you a happy new year, and I hope you have a fun and safe time and get to do something exciting here for New Year's. And cheers. I will see you soon in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.